A top story first. Karnataka's cities are growing at an unprecedented rate. But is the money keeping up? A new Janagraha report says that 46% of Karnataka's population now lives in urban areas, yet these cities receive just 25% of State Finance Commission devolution. The report also claims that while 34,052 crore rupees is counted as urban devolution on paper, only around 4,972 crore rupees actually reaches urban local bodies. It also points out that Karnataka now ranks last among comparable states in per capita grants to cities at about 2,244 rupees compared with 6,251 per head in Kerala. The report also warns that the only flexible funding available to municipalities has nearly dried up. In fact, untied grants have fallen to just 75 crore rupees against the Commission's recommendation of nearly 5,790 crore rupees, leaving cities with little room to fund local priorities. Add to that delayed civic elections, which could put 18,483 crore rupees in Finance Commission grants over the next 5 years at risk, and questions are mounting over whether Karnataka's cities have the financial muscle to keep pace with urbanization. So joining us now to discuss these findings is Santosh Nargund, Senior Advisor at Janagraha. And Santosh, firstly, thank you so much for joining us right here on South Central. Let's jump straight into it, Santosh. Your report essentially says that Karnataka accepted 34,052 crore rupees in urban devolution, but only about 4,972 crore, that's less than 5,000 crore rupees, actually reaches city governments. How does such a massive gap arise in the first place? And where's the rest of the money going, really?
Yeah, good evening, Jude, and good evening to all your viewers. Thank you for having me here. As you rightly pointed out, the allocation seems to be 34,000 odd crores. But what actually gets into the hands of the urban local governments is only about 4,000 odd crores. Now, to understand this gap, we can look at the different allocations that the state government is considering. One of the banes of local self-governance, urban local self-governance all over the country and particularly in Karnataka has been that most of the schemes are decided or the programs are decided at the state level. So what happens is a major chunk of this 34,000 odd crores is being allocated to the two of the guarantee schemes of the state government, that is the Annabhagya and the Grihalakshmi Yojana, the two flagship guarantee programs. So there, a huge chunk, almost a third of the allocation is going to that. And after that, we have various parastatal agencies which are reporting to the state government. For example, the water and sewerage boards, the urban development authorities, and the waste management authorities and whatnot. For example, in Bengaluru itself, you have nearly 20 parastatal agencies. And like that, in every city across the state, you have various parastatal agencies which are directly functioning under the state government. So nearly 8,000 crores of this allocation is going to the parastatal agencies. So that doesn't come under the purview of the elected local governments or the elected councils. And then what is left is about 10,000 crores. Among that, there is the way the state government is accounting is the Central Finance Commission funds to the tune of 3,000 plus crores again are included as state devolutions, much against the recommendations of the State Finance Commission and other such constitutional authorities. So what happens is the promise is of 34,000 crores, but by the time the elected governments receive the amount at their level at any town or small town or city in Karnataka, what is left is only about 4,000 odd crores.
Santosh, for a bit, let's leave aside who gets to decide where this money is being spent. And I completely get your point on parastatal agencies that are playing, key stakeholder roles in making that decision itself. But the fact is that with Karnataka now nearly 46% urban, and yet with cities receiving only 25% of state commission funds, at least that's what your report actually goes about unearthing, is this a reality check problem? Is the state's funding formula completely out of sync with actually what's happening on the ground in terms of this mass movement to urban areas?
Yeah, I think that is one of the big challenges that a state like Karnataka is facing. It is one of the fast urbanizing and urbanized states to the tune of 45, 46%. And the national average also is around 40%. And even the Central Finance Commission has made high allocations to the urban areas. But a state like Karnataka is struggling to allocate, as high as only 25%. So I think on the one hand, the chief minister of the state has a very good and a laudable vision of building more Bengalurus beyond Bengaluru. That is what he recently stated in one of the state level programs. But that needs to be backed by the investments and the devolutions to the to the city governments. Unless we invest in the cities, the civic problems or the livability issues are not going to be solved.
Quickly, before we move on, I just want to get your quick take on one aspect. What the government is saying is that welfare schemes like the Anna Bhagya scheme or the Gruha Lakshmi scheme are essentially part of the devolution itself. But you principally disagree on this point of view, right? Why do you believe that counting these schemes as part of urban devolution inflates that funding that is available to the cities?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think that has been a bone of contention among the city governments and the state governments. We need to understand how the constitution makes provisions for this. We have under the constitution, we have the seventh schedule under which the subjects which the union government can handle and the state government can handle are divided. Similarly, there is a 12th schedule which was inserted after the 74th amendment was made in 1992, by which about 18 functions, 18 subjects were transferred to the urban local governments. Now, whatever is required, the money, the resources, the staffing, the funds, functionaries, everything has to be devolved to the local governments. The whole purpose of this was that the decisions that are required locally should be made at the local level. Now, if the state government includes flagship programs, its own flagship programs into the devolution, that is actually going against the principle of decentralization. The state government is at its free will to spend as much as it wants on its own programs, but it cannot encroach on the funds that are meant for the local governments. Say, you can compare that with, suppose the union government wants to run a new scheme or a new program it wants to launch. It cannot account for that from the devolutions or the fund transfers that it is making to the state governments. It has to make its own provisions. So
Right.
that's in a simple way we can understand that.
Right. Let's take a look at some of these numbers again, Santosh. Now, your report points out, and rightly so, that Karnataka is the last among peers or comparable states in terms of per capita grants. Now, let me refresh our viewers' memories from my introduction to the story. The state devolves around 2,244 rupees per capita, whereas in Kerala that number is automatically 6,251. Now, what does that mean in practical terms for a resident of, let's say, Bengaluru, Mysuru or Mangaluru, this big drop or this big difference in per capita devolution?
So, in very simple terms, so I will first I would like to say that in very simple terms, what it means is the potholes won't be fixed. There won't be enough money in the hands of the local governments, the city governments, to spend on maintenance of drainage, of roads, of parks. Normally, what happens is the state government grants cover the capital expenditure, but there is very little money for operation and maintenance. So, and also the last mile connectivity things, the money needed for last mile connectivity, interior roads, parks, there won't be money to build libraries or to give such other facilities, right? So I think every city in Karnataka is actually suffering because this grant, the per capita expenditure or per capita allocation has remained almost stagnant. Actually, if you take about 8 to 10 years back, Karnataka was leading in terms of per capita allocations. You'll see in the report. But what has happened over the last few years is that states like Tamil Nadu, even Odisha, and Kerala have gone far ahead in terms of per capita allocation, whereas Karnataka's allocations have stagnated around this number.
Santosh, one last question before we let you go. If you had the chance to speak to Chief Minister DKS, or if you were to meet him in a public forum today, in line with these findings, what are the three immediate policy decisions that you would ask for him to take or implement in terms of improving the city's urban finances, so to speak?
Yeah, so I think for a state like Karnataka to retain its competitiveness, the cities need to be made capable for delivering on livability and delivering on the growth that is required to boost the economy. So for that, I think the two or three things the state government must immediately do is to give the due share of funds to the local governments. The state finance commissions, which have been delayed every time since 1992, have to be constituted in time. That is 2 years before the award period begins, and they have to be given a stable tenure. That is point number one. Second, I think the local governments have to be empowered enough to deliver to the citizens. That means the timely election should happen there so that there is a accountable government in place in cities. And secondly, they need to get their share of funds in terms of untied funds to the tune of at least what is recommended by the State Finance Commission, like 25%, which is about 5 to 6,000 crores. Yeah, so these are a few things that the state government must immediately bring in.
Well, the fact is, Santosh, that even as we speak, urban localities and urban centers in Karnataka are significantly underfunded. At least that's what the findings of your report states. And one can only hope that the situation changes and that urban body elections are also held at the earliest in an attempt to improve the situation on the ground. On that note, thank you so much for speaking with us and helping break down some of these insights. Great having you with us here on South Central.
Thank you.
Moving on, Karnataka is preparing for the possibility of drought as weak monsoon conditions raise concerns over water availability in agriculture. Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar has directed officials across the state to stay on high alert, prioritize drinking water supply, protect farmers, and ensure relief measures are rolled out without delay. In fact, the government has also announced an initial allocation of ₹1 crore for every taluk to kickstart drought preparedness. The Chief Minister has also issued a stern warning against negligence and fake claims, asking officials to verify losses thoroughly before recommending compensation. In fact, with rainfall deficits being closely monitored and the sowing season underway, the state says it wants to stay ahead of the crisis as opposed to merely reacting to it. Moving on, the country's private space tech ambitions quite literally received a boost over the weekend when Hyderabad-based Skyroot's Vikram 1 became the first privately built rocket to be sent into orbit.
3, 2, 1, 0.
And we have liftoff of Vikram 1, India's first private orbital launch vehicle. And we have great views coming from the tracking cameras. And isn't this quite something?
Vikram 1 ने अपनी उड़ान भरी है। प्रथम चरण का प्रज्वलन प्रारंभ हो चुका है। Vikram 1 ने प्रक्षेपण पथ को लांघकर आकाश को भेदने का निर्णय ले लिया है एक ब्रह्मास्त्र की तरह।
That's very true, Suyash.
Now, just to set some context, unlike earlier private launches that were suborbital, Vikram 1 has been designed to place satellites into orbit, thereby marking India's entry into a very elite group of nations where private companies have independently developed and launched orbital-class rockets. What also makes Vikram 1 special is that the rocket's array of homegrown tech is an all-star lineup, including an all-carbon composite structure, a 3D printed engine, and the ability to carry payloads of up to 350 kilos to low Earth orbit. So on the historic occasion, the co-founders of Skyroot spoke to my colleague Sumita Karir. Let's listen in to a slice of the conversation.
So Vikram One, what happened was, the first time a private company has designed, manufactured, and brought the orbital class rocket to the launch pad, and successfully lifted off. And in the very first attempt, has put satellites into orbit. I mean, this is a feat of global importance, because the world needs more launches to space, and there's more demand for launching of satellites and less rockets which can launch them. An Indian company, is creating more access to space that is also like, aligns with India's ambitions to become like a very strong spacefaring nation in the world, and with the government opening up the sector to private players recently.
From next year onwards, we plan to achieve a launch cadence of one launch a month also.
And you can watch that full interview with the co-founders of Skyroot play out only at 7 p.m. this evening on ET Now. So make sure you tune in to a very special conversation that the founders of India's newest space startup to launch a private vehicle has with ET Now. And staying with advanced tech, South Korea's Seoul Semiconductor is exploring a manufacturing foray into India under the government's revamped India Semiconductor Mission 2.0. The global optoelectronics major is in talks with multiple states, including Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, to set up a semiconductor packaging or assembly facility. This even as the company looks to diversify beyond its existing manufacturing base in South Korea, China, and Vietnam. The proposed investment could strengthen South India's ambitions to become India's semiconductor hub, especially given that both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are emerging as key contenders. The company is expected to tap into initiatives under the Indian Semiconductor Mission 2.0, especially for support for semiconductor packaging and fabrication projects. And moving on, American automaker Ford has taken another step in its Tamil Nadu comeback, with senior company executives meeting the state's Chief Minister Joseph Vijay to review the automaker's 3,250 crore rupee next-gen engine-producing facility at its Maraimalai Nagar plant near Chennai. The project, when it does kick off, will mark Ford's return to manufacturing in Tamil Nadu after winding down vehicle production in India around the year 2021. Shifting focus to Telangana next, the government has launched the Indirama housing scheme, marking a major push for affordable urban housing in the state. Now, as per the tenets of the scheme, the government will build 1 lakh homes for eligible low-income families across Hyderabad metropolitan region, with construction planned in constituencies including LB Nagar, Malkanjgiri, Uppal, Jubilee Hills, and many other urban constituencies. Now, the initiative, we're told, is aimed at addressing the housing needs of economically weaker sections while supporting planned urban expansion in and around the Hyderabad region. Meanwhile, in neighbouring Andhra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to inaugurate the Bogapuram International Airport on the 1st of August. The new airport will give a major boost to infra in the North Andhra region, with Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu promising that the project will improve connectivity, attract investments, and accelerate tourism in the area. Developed by the GMR Group, the airport is expected to ease pressure on the Visakhapatnam airport and serve as a key gateway for the Vizag economic region. The state member has positioned itself and the project as a catalyst for economic growth across North Andhra since 2014, when the airport was first conceived but failed to take off. Shifting focus to politics next, inter-party tensions between the DMK and TVK continue to escalate in Tamil Nadu. Early this morning, DMK MLA GV Markandayan was arrested after a complaint alleged that he had in fact made defamatory and threatening remarks against Chief Minister Joseph Vijay during a public meeting over the weekend. Now, the Viladakulam legislator was taken into custody from his residence in Thoothukudi, triggering protests by party workers. Markandayan, remember, is the second lawmaker from Tamil Nadu to be arrested on charges of defamation in the last month. Exactly 4 weeks ago, the police rounded up another DMK legislator, Anita Radhakrishnan, under similar charges over a speech made targeting the chief minister. So it comes as no surprise that the party is calling the arrest an act of political vendetta. My colleague Dharni joins us with more information on the arrest.
Vilatikulam MLA from DMK, Markandayan, has been arrested by the Tuticorin police for allegedly making derogatory remarks against Chief Minister Vijay during a public meeting a couple of days back. Markandayan called the Chief Minister shameless, and he also went on to say that the Chief Minister will have to lose all his bones if he's going to make sarcastic jibes at DMK President MK Stalin inside the assembly once again. So these remarks have not gone down well with the ruling TVK, and this morning the Tuticorin police, they arrested Markandayan on the charges of insulting the Chief Minister and threatening the Chief Minister. So these are the charges pressed against him at this point in time. The DMK meanwhile has condemned this arrest. We've seen tweets from DMK MP Kanimoli and also the party's chief MK Stalin. They are calling this arrest as an act of authoritarian attitude, and they're telling that anybody who criticizes the TVK government or anybody who criticizes the Chief Minister, they are being picked up by the police in this current regime, and this is not good for democracy. If the CM's office felt that Markandayan had defamed the Chief Minister, they should have filed a defamation suit, but they shouldn't have used the police force to pick the MLA and to secure the MLA. That is something that is completely unacceptable, is what both MK Stalin and Kanimoli have told in their respective tweets. So the war of words between both the parties continue, but meanwhile, Markandayan remains to be under the custody of the police department at this point in time, and further investigations are currently underway.
Moving on, just days after the Sharad Pawar-led NCP said it would support the centre's proposed delimitation bill if it assured the country of a uniform 50% increase in parliamentary seats across all states, the DMK may also be softening its stance. The party recently hinted at a possible change in its approach to the bill itself, saying that it planned on reserving its stated stance on delimitation until the party actually read the contents of the new legislation. Now, this is a significant departure from the party's previous stance, which, as you can see on your screens, was an outright opposition to the bill, with former Chief Minister MK Stalin even going on to burn it. Now, the apparent change of stance today comes after the DMK and the Congress, remember, have parted ways in Tamil Nadu earlier this year, especially after the TVK emerged victorious in state assembly elections with the help of the Congress and smaller parties helping the TVK wrangle up their required numbers. So here's what the Congress had to say on the DMK's apparent flip-flop on delimitation.
You have to ask the DMK for its reasons why they are doing a flip-flop. In my opinion, they are being enticed by this one nation, one election. They are in a little bit of an urgency to have another assembly election. But all I can tell you is if the DMK embarks on that path, their fate in the next elections will be worse than what they faced in this recently concluded assembly elections.
Meanwhile, the Kerala police has launched a cyber fraud investigation after fraudsters allegedly impersonated Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's private secretary and offered ministerial berths to elected representatives in the state. This in exchange, the legislator said, for a total sum of 3 crore rupees per seat. In fact, the FIR was registered following a complaint from none other than Priyanka Gandhi's private secretary, with investigators confirming that multiple MLAs and MPs received similar WhatsApp calls. The cops in Kerala are now probing the origin of these calls and suspect a coordinated scam targeting public representatives through fake promises of cabinet positions. And with that, it's a wrap on the Bulletin today. Thanks so much for watching, but we'll be back tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.